Welcome back to One on One. I'm Brian Rabacs alongside Tyler Hu, and today we are joined by two very special guests. First, I would like to introduce James Guccione. He's a part owner of the Warriors Cup and Three Pillar Promotions, and has had a lengthy career in the world of Muay Thai as well. James, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure being on. I'm happy to answer questions. We got a big event coming up on Friday, February 25th. It's our third one since the pandemic, and we're excited to get to it.
And our next guest is none other than Liam Tarrant. Liam is currently a broadcaster for Warriors Cup and also a retired fighter in his own right, a four-time North American champion. Liam, thank you so much for taking the time here with us today.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Happy to be here, guys. We were looking forward to this. I'm glad we could make this happen. So thanks for having us.
Absolutely. We both thank you so much for taking the time and discussing Warriors Cup here on One on One. And I guess the first question we'll have to start off is, we'll start with James. As one of the three owners of Warriors Cup and heavily involved in Muay Thai, can you just discuss a little bit to our audience about what Muay Thai is? And then Liam, if you have anything to add, you can add on after.
So, yeah, actually, let Liam, the champ, explain what Muay Thai is. Absolutely. Right, you know what I mean? And I'll get into more of the promotional stuff.
Pass it off to you, Liam. Go right ahead.
He will give a much better description than I will. Absolutely.
I would say any of your audience who's familiar with MMA, Muay Thai is the essential premier striking used in MMA. It's the art of eight limbs, originally from Thailand. It's in a boxing ring. You use punches, knees, elbows, and kicks, and a stand-up grappling. But if it goes to the ground, they pick you right back up. So the action doesn't stop. There's no groundwork to it. And I like to say Muay Thai is like a chess match with immediate and violent repercussions.
That sounds pretty intense.
See, yeah. That's why I gave it up to Liam, because I knew we were going to get something like that. You know what I mean? I could have described it, but it wouldn't have been as well as that. And that's the thing. And also, we do amateur and pro Muay Thai, and the difference between Muay Thai and boxing, which a lot of people relate it to boxing as a ring sport, is like the amateurs also fight with like no gear, like to the layman's eye that doesn't really know the sport, it looks all professional to you, because the amateurs are getting in there lots of times with no shin pads, with a smaller glove, no headgear. It's more we build them up in a different way. And then, you get these amateurs competing at a very high level.
I agree with what James is saying there. It's when you see it, it's not like you're thinking, oh, okay, these are the beginners. It's like, no, it's right off the bat. It's action all night. And it's
all night. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, based off like the limited experience I've seen watching Muay Thai, it looks like a lot of skill, a lot of brain power. You have to know when you have to be able to counter your opponent's moves. It's as you said, it's a lot of it's no groundwork. So you gotta be able to punch, kick, do all of that, defend. It looks like a really fun sport. I'm gonna say, to the casual eye, I will say I'm an extreme casual with that stuff. To the casual eye, it's really entertaining to watch and takes a lot of skill. So James, my question to you is, what would you say separates the Warriors Cup from other Muay Thai promotions?
I mean, I'd say it's the level of the fights. People aspire to fight on the Warriors Cup. I have coaches, I go through it all the time. So, who's that fighter? Let's get him on. No, they're not ready for the cup. A lot of the coaches, hold us in high regard, which we appreciate. And they look at it like the big leagues, that only going to put on my best of the best. My guys that are ready, that are going to put a good showing. I had a coach recently tell me that, he had a fighter who felt was really good. He was winning fights. I think he's undefeated, 5 fights. But he goes, I'm not comfortable putting him on your event because, style isn't there in the way that I want him to portray me. So they hold us in high regard as themselves, saying, when you go on this show, I want to only deliver the best. So, that's a big separation. There's a lot of places to fight. You know what I mean? There's a lot of events happening where I fight, but, there's different caliber to it.
Awesome. Well said. And we'll move on to you, Liam. Now, we mentioned earlier that you're a retired fighter and you've transitioned into a broadcaster's role and do a lot of commentary for Warriors Cup. So I just want to ask you how your transition to commentary went after your fighting career came to an end.
Well, I was actually commentating while I was still fighting, not at the exact same time, but while I was still in my fight career, I was commentating as well. I've been commentating for the Cup for it's almost 12 years now. The transition was great because I've always enjoyed public speaking, but I've been teamed up with a bunch of partners for this event. We've got 3-time world champion Ognjen Topic on there. And it felt like a pretty natural vibe, just getting into being able to explain people. And one of my favorite memories of commentating was there was a kid named John Nofer out of Sitan in Philly. And I commentated one of his fights. And I see my role as a broadcaster being, or a commentator, lifting the sport and lifting, because not a lot of people know about it. Now more people know about it. Back in the day, nobody did. Lifting the sport, lifting the fighters, the coaches, and trying to support everybody. And I had this where John Nofer was an excellent fighter, and I was explaining what was going on. And then I was at an event about 3 months later, and I feel somebody grabbed my arm from the side. I was like, what huh? It was this little old lady. And I was like, hello. And I speaking to John right before that. I was like, hey man, how you doing? Everything good? Yeah, all good. And then she said, oh my God, you're the guy that called Johnny's fight. And I was like, yes. And she said, I'm his mother. And we were watching from Philly and we couldn't be there, and none of us had seen it before, but by the end of it, we all understood what was going on. And you said such nice things about him. I was like, I was being honest. And that was really touching for me that his mother was saying that, people who hadn't watched it before, we also broadcast on bxngtv.com, but people who hadn't seen it can watch the sport and go, okay, I kind of get the strategy that's going on here. So I enjoy that part of it, being able to share this. And everybody at Three Pillars Promotions, we're in this for the love of the game. And I love being able to share that with people and have them experience that and know what's going on.
That's awesome, actually. That's like such a touching moment. Such like a genuine moment too, first of all. And second, I think it's like really cool to have like a commentator who's also an active fighter. It gives you like that active fighter's eye, that like that touch, like that, a former, like a non-fighter or somebody who like doesn't really watch the sport will understand. Like it's a firsthand experience. The sport better than pretty much 99% of the watchers out there. So it gives you that active eye. It's definitely something that's really cool. But Liam, you're the co-founder of the Muay Thai project. Would you mind discussing why you want to start this project and what it's able to provide to the community?
Well, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We did that. We started that in 2008, I believe, or was it 2009? What we do is we work with gyms. We work with local gyms, mostly in the New York area, and we provide scholarships for kids who might be deemed like trouble cases. They're not doing well in school. They're not taking things serious. So we put them into a gym with partners that we know, that we work with, and we provide them with a good environment, good role models. It's not even about fighting. It's just about the training and being in a good area. And some of these kids have really turned their lives around through it. Some of the first students that we had back in 2009, one of them is going to John Jay College now, studying criminal justice. So if we could be a little catalyst for that and help in some way, it's giving back to the community. And the project is also the Muay Thai project. You can follow it on Instagram at Muay Thai Project. They're also a sponsor of the Warriors Cup. And we've only partnered with people that we understand get that element of helping people and helping the community and the positive elements of the sport. That's one thing you'll notice it's different. It's a lot of the sport is based on respect and based on, a certain, there's no crap talking really. Like there's none of that element of it. It's all respect, and fighters are always appreciative of one another in the ring afterwards, and that's the kind of element we wanted to bring with that charity. And it's been great. We've been changing lives for 10 years, and we're going to continue doing it. And it's been a fun trip.
Yeah, it's an awesome project you have going on there, and we now have a couple of questions for the both of you. If you want to both take a shot at these, we'll start with just how did you guys both get into the sport of Muay Thai, and what keeps you so interested in the sport? So to do this, we'll start with Liam, and then James, you can follow up after. So Liam, we'll start with you.
Well, I got into it. I went to North Jersey Muay Thai, and I just wanted to get a workout, and I just got hooked on it. After 2 years, I said, let's see if this works. I want to test myself. I want to go in there. And then honestly, I couldn't tell you why I did it. I think it's just something I had to do. I think a lot of fighters might feel the same way, where it's just that feeling, the rush of it, and the discipline of it. It gave structure to my life, which was a little chaotic. But my mother only came once; she hated it. Everybody's asking your mother, your father, "What are you doing with your life? Why are you?" And you're like, "I just got to do it. I don't know." But she was very happy when I traded a mouthpiece for a microphone. So now that I'm retired, she's happy. But I continue to be a part of it because I see the life-changing element of it, and I see the beauty of the sport, and what differentiates it from other combat sports or generally martial arts is the fight element of it, where that you see who is the best in it. So yeah, it's something I plan on staying in for the rest of my life.
On a note of like Liam saying, life-changing experience, I was running down a troubled past years ago, and I had checked myself into rehab, and I come out, and a friend of mine was fighting Muay Thai. I didn't know what it was. He invited me to a fight, and I saw it, and I watched. I said, he actually fought somebody from Liam's old gym. And I watched, and I said, this is something I need to be doing. I said, this is something I want to do. I said, will you train me? He had me in the gym a couple of days later. I had my first fight, by the end of that year, it was off to the races for me. It's my life, and it saved my life. It put something positive in my life that I was missing for a while. And, I pretty much moved through the ranks from fighter, coach, matchmaker, cut man, and now corner of a promotion. And basically, this is the job environment and the energy I want to be around for the rest of my life.
No, that's so inspiring, honestly. The Muay Thai can really change your life. All these fighting, mixed martial arts sports, I've heard so many of these great stories about people coming from troubled pasts, finding their sport and moving and finding their sport and then changing their life forever in the positive way. But I'm gonna start with you, James, for the second question. This is for both of you guys. How do you see Muay Thai and other mixed martial arts growing in the United States and even worldwide for the next few years?
I'll tell you right now, it's growing tremendously. Even Muay Thai, which has kind of always been smaller and a little more tight knit. I mean, there's a lot of promotions popping up, and it's good. It's actually, I don't look at it as, oh, this is competition for me. This is good for the sport. It gives more outlets. It brings more eyes on it. The more fights happening in the more places, this is the more eyes on our sport, and we're going to grow as a whole. So, any other promotions, nothing's competition. For me, we do what we do, and then the more fights happening, this is going to bring our sport together and our sport stronger. And it's really happening. The more you're seeing events every week, every 2 weeks, all different states that you would never dream of having a Muay Thai fight are holding 3 different events themselves. This is showing that the sport is really on a rise.
Yeah, I'd agree with James there. It's from when we started in the scene, it's very different in Muay Thai now, even to the level of the fighters that are out there. And you see guys now who are fighting, and women who are fighting, because we have men and women fighting, and both are equally as ferocious. But now you see people with 5 fights, and they look like back in the day what somebody with 10 fights would look like. So the game is actually advancing and it's accelerating, which is exciting to see, because you're seeing these great matchups. And actually, there is a World Game qualifier. And speaking of how it's going, we have a lot of Warriors Cup veterans who are now qualifying in the U.S. to represent the United States in the IFMA, which is a worldwide organization. And it's going towards Olympic status. Muay Thai is going towards Olympic status right now. So you might be seeing future Olympians on these shows. You're definitely going to see future national champions. I mean, it's blown up. And Warriors Cup, we're the home of East Coast Muay Thai. And you're going to see some great matchups with great people. And I see more and more people getting into the sport, and I love it. I'm so excited about it. And to James's point, yeah, having other promotions is great because it creates that ecosystem. There's more fighters going out there, and the game is accelerating. It's exciting for us. It's being almost an underground sport for a long time. I mean, MMA is obviously huge, but Muay Thai and MMA are pretty complementary because Muay Thai is an essential part of MMA training. So I see both of them coming up together.
Talking to James Guccione and Liam Tarrant here on One-on-One. Before we let you guys go, we can't leave here without asking about the event you guys have next Friday. It's Warriors Cup Tatakai. It takes place on Friday, February 25th. It'll be at the Melrose Ballroom in Queens with doors opening at 6 p.m. So I'll just ask both of you guys, what do you think viewers can expect from the event? And what are you two both most looking forward to? We'll start with you, James.
Nonstop action. That's what you can look forward to. It's going to be, a good night. We got a great venue now. We kind of, after the pandemic, we started off slow a little bit. We were in, a gym and this and that. Now we're in a club. The lights, the cameras. It's going to be a great night. Nonstop action. I'm looking forward to a lot of the young fighters coming up. That's really what we're trying to showcase. Young fighters coming up, and that's what I'm most excited about.
To reiterate that point, seeing the young fighters and seeing the game progress in real time, and the venue is awesome. Check out our Instagram page at Warriors Cup _3PP for 3 Pillar Promotions. The venue is awesome. If you can make it out there, they got 2 bars. They've got an overhead deck, almost like at Terminal 5, if you guys have ever been there. But I'm just looking forward to. It's, I think, 13, 14 fights, but it's you don't get bad fights in there. The matchups. That's why around the Muay Thai scene all over the country, we're known as the home of East Coast Muay Thai because the matchups are great. The health and safety of the fighters is also a high priority for us. So everything is done professionally and done the right way. And it's just a fun night out. And if you can't catch it live and in person, you can watch it on bxngtv.com and you can hear my sweet, sultry voice whispering sweet nothings and violent everythings right to your home computer.
Also, we got tickets on sale on Eventbrite. So you look up Warriors Cup on Eventbrite, and if you put in promo code Fordham on there, we got a discount.
If I could note one other thing, we are partnered with. I'm sorry about that. Cut you off there, Brian. We are partnered with the World Boxing Commission on Muay Thai, the World Boxing Council, where we are now ranking our amateur fighters are getting ranked in the World Boxing Council. So we have that partnership with them. We're developing a program with them to further the sport in the US. So you're seeing top level fighters on this show. You can't go wrong. It's a fun night out. It's right off of the, It's right off the N&W line at 36th Avenue in Queens. So it's right. If you're near the city, you jump right in and you get there, and it's a good time. It's going to be great.
Well, yeah, I think you guys said it best. It should be an awesome event. And it was great talking to both of you. Don't miss Warriors Cup Tatakai on Friday, February 25th. You can either attend in person at the Melrose Ballroom in Queens, or you can watch it live on pay-per-view, bxngtv.com, and catch Liam on commentary. We had a great time talking with both you guys today. Liam and James, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys. Hope to talk to you again soon.